Hello, fellow patriots and believers. I think you're going to agree with me on this matter that this channel called Vatican Catholic that is dissing the props of Dr. Taylor Marshal. I'm sorry, I'm a very lay, uncouth person who's denigrating the credulity of Taylor Marshal. I apologize if you're a Christian and stuff. I appreciate you watching this video. I cuss. The Diamond Brothers from Vatican Catholic channel is trying to take a shit on Dr. Taylor Marshal. Now, if you want to know who the hell am I and why you should listen to me, I'm leaving Protestantism. It's embarrassing how I was raised in it, smack middle in the satanic panic era of the 1980s and so forth, with all the televangelist stuff versus rock and roll. If I was a douchebag, if I was like a sociopath, if I didn't get hit in the head as much and drink and smoke marijuana as much as I have in my life, I could have been a successful Protestant pastor. I know the Bible very well. Who cares? So, Vatican Catholic channel. This is a good channel. I don't think the guy likes me. He's replied to one of my things before. But he's wrong dissing Dr. T. Okay? His second most recent post as of right now, November 16, 2024, he's saying there's a picture of a family going to church, you know? Picture of a family going to church. And he's saying something like, Taylor Marshal encourages people to attend non-Catholic churches. Marshall has an audience that includes many non-Catholics as well as those who claim to be Catholic. In fact, he reposts non-Catholics on a daily basis. He deliberately told an audience that, which includes many Protestants, etc., they must get to church without telling them it cannot be a non-Catholic church. He stated without distinction, Satan doesn't want you at church on Sunday, get there. He makes no distinction, encourages people to attend non-Catholic churches, participate in non-Catholic worship, as well as Novus Ordo Mass, contradicts Catholic teaching because the church forbids all participation in non-Catholic stuff. It's a grave sin. More proof, Marshall's a heretic. He endorses false ecumenicalism, that's how I pronounce it. Christ doesn't want you at non-Catholic churches. The Catholic teaching against attendance at non-Catholic churches and against participation and stuff is very forbidden. So, okay, you get the point. Thanks for listening still. Okay. The reason why Jay Dyer would beat this Vatican Catholic dude, Peter or something Diamond, Brother Diamond, who I respect. This guy had a good debate against some non-Novus Ordo Vatican II guy. He had a good debate with him on Pints with Aquinas, okay? Jay Dyer would beat the Diamond Bros because what he didn't really iterate in that paragraph that I read to you is he's off the presupposition about how the Sedevacanist view or Vatican I or original Catholicism would be anti-ecumenism, because there has been, I can't quote them unless I have Google, there has been infallible ex cathedra papal decrees. It's been written in canon law of the original Catholic Church that you cannot be a non-Catholic. It's you'll go to hell, or it's a liability, a spiritual liability, right? But Jay Dyer would tell this Vatican Catholic dude that the same infallible papal decrees, the same ex cathedra statements, the same set in stone rules of the original Catholic Church is the same church that said that the rock, the seat of Peter, the Pope, would be an infallible institution. Now, the Sedevacantists don't believe in the Pope, especially the new Pope. I already forget it, Francis Bergoglio or whatever. The Sedevacantist view is against all the popes going back to like at least 1960, at least all of Vatican II. And Taylor Marshal is also critical of the contemporary or the current pope of this time, Bergoglio. So, Jay Dyer would say the same infallible institution that's saying that supposedly Dr. Taylor Marshal is a heretic for telling people just to go to any church of their choosing is also the same church or institution that said that the Vatican, the Pope, would always be biblical, would always be orthodox, would always be right. And there's so many Catholics nowadays that is accusing I'm petting this cat, accusing the modern, look how cute she is. Look at my cat videos, guys. I love you. She'll get me so much allergies. So, it's the same institution that said that the Poposaurus, Kittysaurus, would always be right, would always be orthodox, would always be biblical, would always be guided by God, right? So if our modern Pope nowadays is blessing unorthodox sexual unions, if our modern Pope nowadays is very liberal or secular or ecumenist or welcoming pagan iconography, welcoming pagan relics, welcoming pagan thoughts, ideologies, and saying that it's all path to God. If you're in the current know, if you're in the know in the milieu, if you're in the milieu of what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying. If you're not, basically, the modern Pope today is accused of being non-biblical because he's very tolerant of other views, other different religions, other different ideologies. If you don't know, the Orthodox or biblical Christians, traditional Christians nowadays, don't believe in the current political spectrums of today, except for Donald Trump. He's pretty good. So Jay Dyer would tell him, same institution that you rely on that was ex cathedra and infallible is the same institution that gave you a pope that's not orthodox. And then the apologetics or the mental gymnastics, the Diamond Brothers, are going to have to go with that. But I like Taylor Marshal. I mean, I'm kind of a douchebag. I'm not a family person. I don't have a family. I'm just a person that's interested in politics and religion, who is leaving Protestantism for a long story. I wonder if my comment, of course my comment wasn't documented. Of course. I was erased. But I wrote, Taylor Marshal advocates his viewers, his Catholic viewers, to go to traditional Latin Mass all the time. And in the United States of America, we need a form of ecumenism. I personally believe God allowed so much unorthodox or liberal or secular or evil influence upon our culture to unite the different sects of Christendom. Meow. I love this cat. And I could go on a whole tangent about how I think that the devil used heretics in the body of Christ to make the body of Christ stop and argue about things that are internal affairs instead of carrying out the Great Commission. It's a diversion. It's a distraction. It's an impediment that, I mean, I think it has its place. I think it's very important to talk about, what is it, doctrinal dogma, what's orthodox, what's biblical. I think that's very important, but that's set aside for the certain people who are positioned to do so. The rest of the church has to unite, whether you call them Protestants, Catholics, Orthodox, whatever, whoever. In the United States, it's a culture war right now. A lot of people are worried about their posterity, their politics, where the tax dollars are going, and the ideologies of our nation. I can't post videos too long. I hope this was edifying. But long story short, Jay Dyer would beat the Vatican Catholic dude on this subject, or in general, because Vatican Catholic dude, and I like that channel. They're very interesting they talk about Luther, they talk about the King James Bible, they talk about people doing witchcraft, they talk about certain creationist type of science. It's a very good channel, and I like the Diamond Bros, even though there's only 6 comments on there, and mine never surface. Good for him. I would never be able to join his church, nor am I planning to. But same institution he's relying on to stake his claims is the same institution that said that the Pope would always be infallible or orthodox or biblical or righteous. And they have their own excuses, the trad cats or all of the Roman Catholics, which I love and respect. I like Taylor Marshal. I think I am going to become Roman Catholic, God willing. Regarding Taylor Marshal, Vatican Catholic dude talking crap on Taylor Marshal. Dr. T is always advocating his Catholic listeners to go to traditional Latin Mass. And if Protestants or whatever he's always cutting it down the line. He's always reasoning with apologetics of why the Catholic Church has seniority and more orthodoxy or biblical standing than Protestantism. But we're not going to waste our time and energy fighting that much about it, because we have a bigger enemy at hand. We have the beast in the book of the Apocalypse, the Antichrist of this age that St. Paul and stuff was talking about. I better cut this video short or cut it out or whatever, because it doesn't want to upload longer videos. But good for me. Kitty, you want to say hi to the world? I love you. Come here, say hi to the world, I'll let you go. So you guys say hi to Piglet. Look at her videos. She gets like thousands of videos. I love you. That cat is awesome. She exterminates all the vermin around here. She's gotten stolen twice. That's how good of how coveted of a cat she is. God bless. Keep on rocking the free world. I gotta go. Piglet.